Welcome to the Kpopcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Stephanie, and today I'm joined by DJ P-Lo, along with some very special guests for an episode that's all about K-pop and the Black Lives Matter movement. We'll get to our illustrious panel of guests a little later, but before that, P-Lo, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on all that's going on right now?
Well, speaking for myself, as a non-Black K-pop fan, I want to be very supportive of Black Lives Matter. I want to be a part of the change, but I'm not sure what the best ways are to do that, especially if we're talking about being an ongoing, sustained support after the next few weeks and months go by. I also know that it is not my Black friends' job to take on the extra labor of answering a million questions about racism, working through my ignorance and guilt on this matter.
That's right, P-Lo. Speaking for myself as a Black K-pop fan and really just a Black person in this moment, it can get pretty exhausting having these same conversations over and over. Y'all know what I mean on the call. So for this episode of the Kpopcast, we are lifting up fellow Black voices in the K-pop fandom to speak about our experiences as fans, share our thoughts on BLM, and answer some of those deep burning questions that are on everyone's mind, really so that all of our Black brothers and sisters don't have to. So if somebody comes at you with some foolishness, hit them with this episode. Call it a day. Be like, we got you.
And just knowing you, Stephanie, as well as our esteemed guests for this episode, I already know we're about to dive into some pretty intense, uncomfortable subjects. And that's by design. We don't learn while we're in our comfort zone. So I'm all here for it. I'm personally very excited for what we're about to hear and get into today from Black K-pop fans who are the under-recognized, underappreciated bedrock of K-pop. So without further ado, let's introduce and get to know some of our guests. So joining us for this episode, we welcome on Ahomari Turner from the 106 in Seoul, a Black K-pop podcast. Welcome, Ahomari.
Hello, everybody. It's me. I've been a K-pop fan for longer than I should have been. Been a fan since Shiny debut, and
whoa,
I'm riding for my boys till the end.
In addition to Ahomari, we are pleased to have the one and only Hallyu young Ajuma content creator herself, Sara L.
What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Ajuma, young Ajuma here. I also go by Sara L. And like Ahomari, I've been a K-pop fan for a very long time. Probably not as long as you have, but I got into it around 2010 by the way of K-dramas, as a lot of us older folks do. And thank you for having me.
And last but not least, we've got Ashley. And Ashley, I'm going to need your help on make sure I'm pronouncing this correctly. Multifacetedacg.
Sounds about right.
Okay.
So, hey, y'all. I'm Ashley, as he said, better known as Multifacetedacg, and I've been a fan since 2012. I came in both by K-drama and K-pop right at the same time. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, Ashley. And you're also a entertainer and podcast host of An Album a Day.
One of the most insane things to ever do, literally going through the modern discography of modern K-pop on a day-to-day basis. We're in season 3 and we've got almost 80 episodes already. So yeah, it's intense.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
We're doing the Lord's work. Album a day.
Wow.
I can't.
What's up, bunnies? 'Tis I, your fairy godmother, aka Alex Reed, and you are listening to the Kpopcast.
Thank you all for your time and expertise on this important issue. We'll be holding this chat in a panel format, so feel free to jump in wherever you have a thought or a comment, and let's follow the conversation where it goes. But think about it all in the context of K-pop. So, the first question, can opener. While many have, and I apologize, that includes myself in this issue, have said that K-pop fans have been a powerful mobilizing force for Black Lives Matter. Where have they gone wrong? In what ways have K-pop fandoms previously silenced the views of Black voices?
You mean like where are they going wrong now, or in the past, or just all the time?
Yes, all the above.
Okay, Ahomari, go for it.
Well, I personally think to some extent it's been positive, but I think a lot of it has to deal with it's a little bit selfishness. I think it's coming from a place of like, we need to like represent our fandom more so than actually caring about Black Lives Matter. And then also trending hashtags that don't need to be trended, like White Lives Matter and such.
Oh my God. When I woke up and saw that, I was like, are you serious? K-pop fans, get it together. Why should this be trend? Like, did you ask a single Black person if this was a good idea? No, I can answer that for you. No. Okay. Got it.
No. Mm-mm.
Do you understand how hashtags work?
Just gonna trend it with some fan cams and keep it, keep it moving. You just wanted to put your fan cam out there. That's cute and all, but like, it's White Lives Matter attached to it.
Beyond the trending, I think one thing that has definitely been not as well thought out, and this is just reflective of fandom culture. It's not exclusive to K-pop. When you are so big about whatever it is you're into, you want to see that it parallels with the same things that matter to you. So everyone who's like, well, you see, my group made a donation, my group did this, my group did that. First off, it's not your group. It's whatever label it belongs to. It's theirs. It's their property. It's their literal asset. We're just fans of it. But using that as a space to try to further validate that what you're focused on is important because it's important to a celebrity, I don't think that's the best plan of action.
Mm-hmm. Like I said in the beginning, I've been in this game a long time, and I see things to where at this point, nothing really is shocking to me, which I don't know if it's a good thing or not. But for example, because I know we're going to get into it, so why not do it now? The whole BTS donating $1 million to Black Lives Matter, and then how ARMY was so excited about this and decided, let's match our oppas, let's match our idols, which I really don't like to say anymore. I use the term artists more than idols, but we'll get into that later. Like Ashley said, it's the company, like I'm sure maybe they do care to an extent, but this is Big Hit's doing, not... BTS didn't walk in like, this is what we're going to do and we're going to do it now, and it's frustrating because it seems like a lot of fans truly believe that, when it's like, yeah, it's great that they're doing this, but please don't misunderstand, this is a business move, okay? Because they see, especially coming behind,
always a business move.
Thank you. It's like coming behind Suga's shenanigans, they got to do something to save face. So bing, here it is, so yeah. I mean, I'm glad we got the money, but it's like, let's be real here.
Yeah.
I'm going to get so much hate.
I have another one. Just a challenge that we're still facing is the invalidation of what we're saying. And that's exhausting. If I'm telling you A, B, and C has happened and you're asking me for proof because we live in the digital world of receipts, and then I produce them, and then you say, well, that can't be true because X, Y, and Z, or I know someone who knows somebody who knows somebody where this didn't happen, you're discrediting my individual experience. So you're damned if you do by giving evidence of things that are occurring, the doxing that we're experiencing, the mass blocking that we're getting from people who are blatantly racist and prejudiced that you don't even know.
No, exactly.
And then the other side of it is not having the evidence but supporting what's going on and still getting dragged no matter what. It's really exhausting in that matter. And we like to top it and say that it's, the younger fans and whatnot. But just the same as somebody can play role on social media, it's a lot of old people doing this too. That part is exhausting. Yeah.
I mean, maybe we don't need to say names, but I think the audience, this is probably new to them, what you're referring to, what you're kind of subtweeting. And I think we could use some examples, some more detail. Like what kind of things are we seeing out there in the Twitterverse?
Oh, absolutely. A perfect example would be when there's conversation that's constructive that's going on, and because you're frustrated with the response of one person who didn't come off derogatory or stereotypically in the way that you think black folks supposed to when we angry, neck roll and finger snap included, you go through their following and you block them, their following, their followings following, their followings following.
Oh, wait, that sounds familiar.
Doesn't it?
What was said specifically?
Oh, do we need a tweet receipt?
I think we do.
I
think we all on this call know the exact conversation, but folks listening might not. So let's read it out. You got it.
Absolutely.
Whose tweet receipt, though?
We should start with the original one. I think because as someone who was pulled into this and had absolutely no clue what originally happened, who the person was that blocked me and why. I mean, I heard about the reasoning later, which was insane. But I don't want to get to her reasoning until we hear the original story. So I'll wait for Ashley because I'm still honestly like,
right. I think a lot of us
happened?
Are confused, and I've been wanting to show people too, but I'm blocked. So
yeah, exactly. I am too. So it's like, what?
Igualmente. I'm blocked as well. However, what you block on one thing, your lack of your awareness of how social media works is that you don't know I can access you on desktop.
Hello.
So the limitation you think you created, as cute and precious as it is, mutually aged adult. My job in K-pop now is not an MV reactor, although I do entertain. I'm a historian. This is histrionics. Hence, therefore, I'll be holding on to it. Yo. So as soon as I pull it up, I'll gladly share that for your listening pleasure.
Well, I remember I had retweeted a certain ethnographer, and I said they were talking about like why aren't K-pop idols talking about other topics such as like the Hong Kong protest and etc. and like why do they care about Black Lives Matter? And I tweeted out, it's because K-pop benefits from anti-blackness and black culture, and so do you, such and such. Literally everyone benefits from it. Anti-blackness and Black Lives Matter isn't just an American issue, it's a global issue. Why this conversation now? And then I got blocked and my entire follower list got blocked.
That's where it started.
And just by I'm sure it was a colorblind block, and yet hundreds of black people were caught up.
What's so interesting?
I don't even see color. I didn't even check who.
I get, because I'm always out here trying to play devil's advocate, just so people can be aware of both sides of situations. But everybody's face, I'll say, a good majority of people's actual face is their profile pic on Twitter. So for someone to say, I didn't even know that these people were blocked, I didn't see any color, I was just blocking people. That's
I have an interesting add into that because one of my white followers, one of 106's white followers, messaged me saying that they weren't blocked.
No.
Yeah. I saw one of my followers who isn't blocked. And just to add to the mystery of this exciting bit of history, the tweets are gone now.
Oh, okay.
Someone has them archived.
Of course.
Oh, I do, but we just don't have the time, my love.
Historian.
I archive all of my movements on social media because, for one, as I said, it's for historical purposes. But for two, I'm a mouthpiece in this. I didn't ask to be a person who was chosen for talking about cultural misappropriation and things of that sort. I stepped in a gap. And a whole bunch of us have as well. So there's bound to be somebody 45 years from now who want to bring up when multi-faced Ted Asgood did something, and I'll be ready. It'll be fresh on my brain. But all of the traces of it, all of the documentation of it, I'm on Twitter in my bookmarks and in my history. It's all gone.
So we just went over like one example, but I want to drive home that this is a pattern, especially among Okay, so at least from my experience as a K-pop fan, I get into the music, I get into the dramas, I get into the language, and then of course I want to learn more, so I look for who seem to be like thought leaders or journalists or academics in the space of like Korean history, Korean culture, so I could get that next level understanding. And so there is this kind of class of elite scholars, journalists, academics, whatever you want to call them, blue checks, verified people who claim to know a lot about Korean and Asian culture and history, and they then gain a lot of K-pop fans in the process of building up their followings. And coincidence? I think not, that a lot of them peddle in anti-blackness in their analysis or their historical analysis, their posts, their blogs. A lot of these folks are peddling this message, especially right now. They're tweeting out with their thought leader status to thousands of people that the Black Lives Matter popularity at this moment is not deserved. It's not right. It doesn't sit well with me. You know, where was the outrage for my people's issue? Where's the outrage for other issue? It's really harmful, you know, because a lot of these folks are held up as thought leaders, and so they're actively harming the discourse and everybody who's online and fandom. But then when they receive a critique along the lines of, hey, anti-blackness exists and it's kind of there in your post, then the response we get is one that I think all of us are familiar with. The response is not to productively engage in like, oh man, let me look into that. It's block, you're bullying me, you're abusing me, you're oppressing me, you're a monster, you're an animal, and I'm a victim here and I need to protect my mental health, and you're bullying me and this, that, and the other. It plays out this familiar script. We see it at work, we see it in our daily life, and then we come to K-pop to have fun, and here it is again.
Yeah. And my biggest thing is, if you're going to be in the opposition or in the same boat, whatever the case may be, go ahead and stand in it with both your feet. Don't deflect and try to run from it. I don't understand why this person felt it was imperative to protect their tweets. You said what you said, and if you felt that you were justified in what you said, to block yourself from it all. There was so much that was said by this person 4 days ago in a tweet, in a DM, that they felt was so necessary for them to articulate their stance. But if you no longer feel that way, there's nothing wrong with correcting where you may have made a mistake. There's no harm in that.
It's not a zero-sum game, and those who like pitch it like that have an ulterior motive. Yeah. Right? They were never a supporter in the first place. And I think like wading through who's an actual supporter, who's not, who's faking it, is like the day-to-day experience of a Black K-pop fan.
Yeah. 100% agree.
So, I mean, to come out of that for a second, are there any Korean idols, rappers, companies who you think are walking the talk, doing it right, down for the cause?
Yes.
Or like
Tiger JK.
Love Drunken Tiger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I saw the faces like, wait, she jumped in a little too quick. Yeah. And the only reason why I say that is because even before things that have happened in the past few weeks, he has been on social media advocating for things, and not just Black Lives Matter and equality. He is just like, I don't know what he's eating, but it's like he wakes up like, okay, what are we going to fight today? Injustice, boom. Slavery, boom. Inequality and all of this. And yes, just let me know what I don't know. Please, somebody just give me one thing so I can go and learn. And I honestly just love that about him, because he is still to this day tweeting about things, and not just about negative things. He's also trying to be very positive with things like, look, I love you guys, love one another, hug each other, and all this. I think it's really great. really rare, because it seems like a lot of people, once they do their donations, once they put their black square, okay, it's time to move on. You know,
Not
it's
the
been a
black
week.
square.
Oh yeah, the black square. It's like, and I get it. Like, I understand you don't have to be in everybody's face all the time. You know, I'm sure everybody's doing what they can. When I say everyone, I mean us. We're all doing something. We may not always be out there protesting, but we're reading, we're learning, we're donating, we're doing what we can. So sometimes I feel like I should not expect people who are famous to constantly be in front of the camera doing things all the time. However, because I know so many people look to them for their next move, like, I got to see what this group is doing or what this person is doing so I can do the same thing. I feel like they have to take that responsibility to say, look, you may not see me, but I'm still moving. I'm still making my moves. I'm still doing this. I'm still learning. Something simple like that. But you don't see it, really.
Ooh, yeah. I wish, like, it's been really cute with the black squares and the Blackout Tuesday and the Black Lives Matter, the We Stand With You tweets. But I'd like to see, like, actual, like, learning and unlearning, because I don't think that's happening. I think it's just, I think for some it's just PR moves, because like a lot of companies are making the same PR move, like, not even just K-pop, it's like Coca-Cola, Disney, they're all out of nowhere supporting Black Lives Matter, when before they were very silent, and now it seems like we have to do this or the girls are going to start talking. I wish more learning and unlearning would go.
What does that look like?
Like, learning about, like, different cultures, respectfully, learning about their histories and, like, the things they've gone through, learning that you shouldn't be wearing bindis, learning that, you know, maybe cornrows aren't for you, learning that, you know, this is where your music comes from, and while you do appreciate it, there's more to it than just you listening to it.
All right, so I like how you connected it to cultural appropriation in K-pop and the music videos. So it's all connected, right?
Yeah. Ooh, they be out here, and I'd be like, okay. I mean, I think after so many years of being in K-pop, I expect it. Like, I just expect it to happen. So it's kind of like, when it happens, I see everyone angry, and I'm just like, I understand why y'all are angry, but I'm just kind of like over here, just like, okay, it happened again. Like, it doesn't even faze me anymore. Like, it is sad, but like, it's just kind of like, yeah. It's like, oh wow, this person. Oh, they have locks. They have horrible locks. Oh, like, they have their head braided. Then they came online with an apple as an apology. Like, great. I love apples too. I mean, I'm gonna start apologizing with apples. See if that works for me.
It doesn't fix much, but it's their non-blatant way of saying sorry, because sagwa is the word for apology, and sagwa also means apple.
It means apple.
Yeah. Yet and still, it don't fix anything. But I mean,
it's something.
It's
right,
something.
right. So I want to stay on this topic of, like, what would be the real way for K-pop idols, or let's be real, the music labels who, you know, have the purse and the power, to show that they're really down for the cause, or like whatever that means, to make repairs, to show that they're learning and unlearning.
Well, here's something.
Would there have to be changes to the industry, or like how the label runs things?
Yes.
Okay. Like what? Yeah.
I mean, everything will have to be changed. Everything down to the root, almost to the brick and mortar of the building at this point, because it's so seeped into this. But what I find interesting is how, when they make a mistake not regarding cultural appropriation, they go into reflection, and they reflect, and they disappear. We had the young man from AB6 who was drunk driving and got caught. He's out the daggone group, okay? And it's just, sometimes it's very
he's out.
numbing to me when things like this get such a strong reaction of like, I'm so sorry, handwritten apologies on Instagram, and being gone out the group, or you're not going to be in this comeback or whatever. But then when we have something like blackface or the hair, it's like, sorry, okay, next, and it's like, tag.
Oops.
This is our culture, that you're taking, and you can't even apologize properly. You dress up, and I know like sawa means apology in Korean, but it's like, to me, it just is offhanded, like, sorry, like miane, whatever.
Yeah.
Not even the formal, like,
right. So yeah, I can't even begin to say what they actually need to do, like steps. I just know that they need to make more of an effort in their apologies. Can we at least get a handwritten letter? I mean, gosh, we don't even get that half the time.
That's a good point. That right now, I'm thinking in like tech industry lingo. We're not at parity with what other interest groups are getting. Right. And that's a good first step. So in terms of
I was gonna say Jaehyun gave K-Nets an apology for going to Itaewon, but that's important.
Oh gosh.
Heck yeah, that was important. Their comeback was like 2 days after. You better write that apology.
Gotta make that money.
Exactly. But there you go. That's a business move.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
When money gets into it, I think, at least from a business standpoint, people are going to pay more attention. Like, look, you messing with my money, so this is what you need to do.
Always.
Unfortunately, there's a track record. It's proven, because how many times has somebody done blackface? Has somebody done the hair? Or something that has caused an issue in the black community where we've spoken out. Companies know, look, we still gonna get our money, so say sorry, but So perhaps if we can somehow collectively make a move that might mess with their money, I don't know. I'm just like trying to think of things, but
yeah.
History shows that they're still making money with this.
Mm-hmm.
You have to limit the export, and that's not easy at this point. They've been receiving American culture and black culture ever since our soldiers were first put over there, and it's going to be hard. At this point, just listening to the music from the early 2010s to now, this 10-year span, you can hear the influence just increase to no end. There is no reason Baekhyun's album should slap so doggone hard, but that's because it sounds like what I listen to here from producers I know here. So if we are compensated the right way, and it's not questionable, such as what's going on with one female producer right now, and there's a lot.
Let's talk about it.
That's
Say
a sore
her name.
spot. That's a sore spot for me. It really is, because
Tiffany Red, right?
Tiffany Red, who is not the only woman to contribute to the industry. SM is a label that frequently utilizes the talents of African Americans in their work and other minorities. However, this is about us right now.
Yes.
So,
what happened?
She more than likely had some circumstances within her contract that were addended. That means that there were some things that were going to be adjusted. And since she has not been financially compensated to whatever was agreed upon, she's gone on social media to call SM Entertainment out, as she should. Now, I don't necessarily know if I would have taken the social media approach. However, calling them out was necessary and justified. A lot of other people started asking if other contributors have experienced the same thing, particularly London Noise, and a lot of fans came running. We don't need to put their name in it. No, we do, because all of you are foreign contributors to the Korean market. If there's no solidarity amongst you all, then what do they have when they're flying over there? They're sending the music over the internet for them to utilize. You're literally breaking the sense of solidarity. I'm a huge fan of both. Big fan of London Noise. That's not hidden knowledge to anyone who's aware of my channel or aware of my brand. I salivate over what they did with EXO Monster and Red Velvet's Dum Dum Dum. However, if you do not say anything in support of your other producers, what good are you in the end? If it comes down just to dollars, at least say something on behest of we need to be compensated appropriately on the legal side of things. If you don't want to get involved, which is still saying 1,000 things in and of itself, at the very least, could you please say something about the coins?
Exactly. No, I saw that and I was like, this is one of the most egregious. She wrote one of my favorite songs, NCT Boss.
Exactly.
And they ain't paid that woman. SM has not even responded to her email.
Nope.
SM won't respond to nobody.
That's true. That's the problem. That they can, extract and profit off of black talent in music. I mean, and really look how they treat their artists. They exploit and profit off the talent of their artists as well. Like, it's the equal opportunity exploitation playground over there.
Hey, Mark Lee.
Mark. Yeah. So back to the, Black Lives Matter movement touches everything, right? We're seeing a lot of brands express solidarity, but not necessarily living up to their proclaimed values. Ashley, how about you tell our listeners about what you tweeted to KCON about what they still need to do?
Oh, man. 6 days ago, I took it upon myself to constructively give some advisement to CJE&M, a company who has cut checks for me in the past. They stopped cutting checks for me in 2017 for two reasons. One, I left the country. And two, I made a public declaration that at this time, the capacity that they wanted me to serve in, I could no longer serve in. I had some issues with some of the people who were selected for panels and some of the ways panelists are treated. Always constructive. Also always in support of what the brand is. I would not have the platform I have without KCON. There's no denying it. However, they made a tweet 6 days ago that they said, we believe in equality and justice for a better tomorrow, and we stand with our friends in the community. Quote, directly from the KCON USA website. This is not from KCON Global. This is KCON USA's Twitter account. So I came at them with just some potential bullet points to consider. I said, historically, there's a healthy mix of guests from different backgrounds. I've moderated and presented some of your more diverse panels in the past, and I've kept up with developments as best as possible. But moving forward, dearest KCON team, consider the following. First thing is it needs to be equitable compensation to all special guests in attendance. There is a long history of us not being compensated, not even equally, because I didn't say equally, I said equitably. So you can't pay me $150 or $300 and I'm running panels 4 days out of the 3 that you have conferences going on at 2 of your locations on different coasts when I live in Houston, Texas. You can't compensate me with that when you're putting so much of the bulk of the entertainment on my back. For a long time, my tagline in the KCON panel booklet was your favorite K-pop YouTuber's favorite K-pop YouTuber in terms of moderation. Like, that's what I brought to the table. So keeping it equitable, we aren't all of the same influence, but everyone has the travel to be present at either of the U.S. cons. Covering a minimal portion of accommodations isn't sufficient, and we know for a fact it's not equally accommodated. We've seen the numbers. Number 2, provision of a permanent space within the con to address questions of misappropriation, unhealthy fandom behavior, avenues of self-facilitated education, and moderated dialogue. The 1-hour panel that we have had historically at the event is not, nor will it ever be enough when more consumers are increasing awareness elsewhere. If they can have a space in the LA Convention Center where K-dramas and K-film play the entire conference, they can also put a space to allow people to utilize kiosks because they have the money and technology to do so, to be able to self-inform about things that they might experience out on the floor, ways to approach conversations. That's a learning thing in and of itself, and they can make it as interactive as they want. 3, continue to spotlight new contributors to the content scene. There's nothing wrong with putting the regular faces and faves. It's a good thing. But there's also a lot of other energy going around that goes beyond YouTube at this point. And then diversifying the front of house and back of house. It's fully understandable that the priority is to hire Koreans and Korean Americans. Duh, CJE&M is a Korean-based company. But they do take influences from other Asian cultures, and they do have a headquarters in Los Angeles on Wilshire Boulevard. So not having something that reflects your consumer demographic is detrimental overall to money. If you're so interested in making a greater bang for your buck, you cannot hide yourself from what's going on. And if you really want some front row, genuinely committed help, KCON, come see me. Y'all still got my emails. Y'all know how to reach me.
Mic drop, mic drop.
Hey.
You tell him. I love it. It's constructive, it's specific, it helps their business, to be honest. And just like puts them on the right side of history too.
Completely.
And I'm not going to ask how long it took you to write that up, but
not long, because I just
no, not long. You've been thinking about that
because anytime they make a move, I just love to see what the move will be. I admire what I know from working with them for so many years and working with people who have come and gone from the company. There are some admirable things, but there's also some genuine blindness, and that's the detachment from the Korean side of the company versus the ones who are here in America. And I just want somebody to make the right call.
Yes. Oh my gosh, somebody, anybody.
Yes. I'm still going.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I know what she's talking about. Some of the very, very uncomfortable panels that Ashley started, I still do. Yeah. And it's not enough time. Like she said, especially now, this past year in LA, I had one panel that was supposed to be about one thing. It was supposed to be about parents learning about K-pop. Oh. It was called K-Popping with the Next Generation. People came in and they said, look, we know about that. Here's what we want to know. Yeah. How do we navigate older K-pop fans with younger K-pop fans? Because it's toxic. We're ready to fight. People are losing their lives over this stuff, or they're harming themselves. And we ended up getting kicked out of the room because there was still so many questions, and like they just wanted to know, what language do I use? And I don't mean like English or French or Korean. They just wanted to know, how can I reach these people? Young folks wanted to know, how do I reach the older generation? And there was not enough time. So there needs to be more of that. There needs to be bigger rooms for conversations like that. So we're not standing neck to neck and nose to nose with each other, hot flashing it up in there, because sometimes panels that don't seem like they're going to be very profitable will get a smaller room. Mm-hmm. So I agree with everything Ashley says.
All business. So we're wrapping up pretty soon, but I want to make sure that we've covered, I think, what have idols done well and not so well. We've covered what have K-pop businesses and labels done well and not so well. But I want to make sure that we cover, our fellow K-pop fans, our non-black K-pop fans. It's also a sneaky narrative shift. Is like, what can the K-pop community do for Black Lives Matter? It's like, we are the K-pop community.
Yeah,
there are black people in the what? So just like making sure not to slip into that. I don't know. Naming them as different is a first step that people can take when they're tweeting, when they're talking. Like, no, K-pop community is black. So it's not like an allyship thing if you're talking about K-pop community in general. But for non-black K-pop fans out there in the fandom, in the Twitterverse, what advice do you have for them in this moment?
Stop doxing us when we don't agree with each other. Stop doxing in general, because like that is toxic, and you can get your own life messed up over that. Don't think just because you dox somebody that you're messing up their life. You're messing up yours also.
Gosh, yeah. And it's probably over nothing.
Yeah.
It's over things that they don't have any business telling us how we should feel. If we don't accept an apology, if we don't like this, or if we do like something,
Ooh, that's oh my gosh, you're so right. That I've seen that dynamic a lot, where a K-pop idol is found to have dipped their toe into anti-blackness, and, get called in for it. Mm-hmm. They make an apology, and then the black community responds in whatever way they individually want to, but some non-black folks really need that apology, really need that to be accepted, really need to see black people on Twitter making the world right again, like making them feel approved and good again.
Like how they were accepting the apology that wasn't directed towards them because it had nothing to do with the fact that they weren't black. So how are you accepting an apology that is not for you? And how can you tell us, you should accept it as well? Excuse me? No.
See, media perpetuates that, though. Every time one of us is murdered for something absolutely ridiculous, you don't see anyone else being asked about forgiveness except for us, because it gives everyone that peace of mind of, oh my gosh, they're still docile. No, baby, if you are of faith, God forgives, and I can too, but I don't have to forget. I can live the rest of my life remembering and processing that personally on my own. I don't have to share that with social media. I don't.
Yes. Okay, more advice for the K-pop fan who wants to do right.
I am a paid educator, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. Thereafter, I am not paid to educate you on what Professor Google can provide for you. You do know how to use Snopes. You do know how to fact check. I am not your source of you getting reciprocity and understanding of what it is to be black or things of that sort. There's plenty of information available for people to take personal initiative and find it.
While we have y'all here, though, we are going to take that extra effort and probably like recommend some things to the fans, So
I like to. This is advice, but also it may come off a little shady. Stop looking to black people to validate your faves. Stop looking to us to do more than we should do for K-pop idols who aren't doing anything for us. And stop speaking over us when we're talking, even if we don't agree or agree as black K-pop fans. This is our conversation. You can see your way out. If you have an opinion, it's cool to keep it to yourself, because it doesn't matter in these conversations. Unless these conversations directly affect you, then you can, have your peace.
Yep. I think the theme I'm gathering from all of this is that this moment is a time for non-black K-pop fans to learn some things, to do some self-introspection and education, look up anti-racism resources. There's like, I don't know, what are y'all's favorite books or websites or blogs or people to follow to get started?
Oh my gosh. Not to sound crazy, but just Google it. It's so simple. How many times do you say, hey, Google, how do I do this? If it's that simple for you to do something as like a recipe, you can do this. It's not difficult, especially now. Just go on my Instagram. I have the Black Lives Matter, where you have a multitude of things that you can look at, read, learn, and stop asking us. Also, and selfless, shameless plug, since we did talk a lot about cultural appropriation, we talked about KCON, we talked about cultural appropriation in KCON and in K-pop, look on Ashley's Multifacetedacg ACG. She has all of her panels up there. A lot of that stuff still applies. I know, because I went down the rabbit hole reliving this stuff when the young woman was doxxed, because I just needed a refresher because I was about to go in on some folks. So definitely just on YouTube and just listen. And then ask questions, but don't be surprised if you get referred to my Instagram, where you can find all of these books and everything that you can read.
That's so true. All of us are posting like fire
on
wisdom
a regular basis.
all the time. Just follow us. Follow
Yes.
us. And we will not lead you astray.
If you're of voting age, please register to vote. And voting is more than just your president. You need to get involved. Politics is not just for the elders. That's why some of the things that are impacting us aren't impacting us in ways that are positive, because the older crowd is active in voting. Voting is your right. Voting has been fought and died for. Women's suffrage, civil rights voting. Check the Constitution if it gives you peace of mind. But if you're of voting age, please register to vote. It's free. And if you think your vote doesn't matter, that is contributing to a long history of a problem that can be fixed. In what a week? The amount of things that we've accomplished through protesting, through being very, very open and public about our concerns, that is going to be able to stick with voting. Please be a part of that. Please.
Yes, exactly. I think a lot of us in the fandom, in the online space, like spend so much time on Twitter, on the internet, but really what makes the big difference in solving the world's problems is getting out there. Protesting, voting, organizing, all of that. I know we only have a couple minutes left, but does someone want to share what is your favorite part about being a Black K-pop fan? What's the best part?
For me personally, it's I don't know, like I get to like kiki with other Black K-pop fans. I get to listen to K-pop music and like, oh, I know where this reference is from. I know where this is coming from. I get to just, I don't know, I get to enjoy, I don't want to say community, because sometimes it doesn't feel like one, but like the community of Black K-pop fans. Like it's, we're funny. Like we're the, not to be exclusionary, but we're the fun ones. Like,
go for it. Yo, like
we're the reason K-pop Twitter is even popping. Like,
exactly. Who are the reactions that everybody wants to watch? They want to see Black people reacting. Who are the dance covers, like the singing covers that everybody wants to watch? It's us. Okay, not me myself personally, but like but our people. Just knowing that we appreciate it on so many different levels, from hearing the music we grew up with reflected in what the idols are doing right now, the dance. It just feels like they are appreciating us and we appreciate ourselves, and it's this feedback loop. It's beautiful.
I couldn't agree more. As someone who grew up in the 90s and the 80s, to hear that music that I loved still in K-pop and still thriving, and it's like, because a lot of the producers, a lot of the writers are Black, so that's where they went. You know, sometimes you're like, hey, what happened to Teddy Riley? Oh, there he is. Okay,
he's over in Seoul.
So I really do love that, and I do think this is a community. Like family ain't all perfect. We got a lot of stuff, so but at the end of the day, we're still family. So that's how I feel about being a K-pop fan, a Black K-pop fan. I love y'all on Twitter. Y'all don't know how much joy, how much laughter I get from reading the tweets that people put out, especially Ahomari. Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. You have me dying.
No, I love it. And it's just like, it makes me happy. And all this stuff that's happening right now, I'm not leaving. I'm angry, sure, we all are. However, I still love being here, as a Black K-pop fan. So that's my thoughts on it.
I love the language we have. I think it's awesome.
It's the best. Welcome back, Peter. All y'all, it was a pleasure to meet you. I need to hop off right now, but oh my gosh, this is so fun, and we should keep doing it.
Bye, Stephanie. Thank you.
Bye, Stephanie. Nice meeting you.
So I apologize. There were like a ton of issues with the live stream. That's why I had to like disconnect and like scramble. In fact, the live streamers can't hear me right now. So I'm just doing this for the sake of the podcast recording. If I could just do our closeouts here. And I'm recording with my phone right now. All right. So thank you all for this very important and honest conversation. Where can our listeners follow each of you online?
I'll go first. 106 in Seoul, like the city. SEOUL. And also on Instagram and Twitter. Both on Instagram and Twitter. And we're on every podcast platform you want to listen to a messy podcast.
It's not that messy. It's wonderful.
And whoever, Sarah, would you like to go next?
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. So, also, you can reach me on Twitter. That's where I'm most active. YOUNG_AJUMMAH. Just type in Young Ajima and I'll pop up. Also on Instagram and Facebook. I also have a podcast, but it's only on AWIN Radio. So in order to find that, you just hop on Twitter and I have it pinned on how to listen to it.
And how about you, Ashley?
All right. You can find me on your favorite social media platforms by looking up Multifaceted ACG. That's MultiFacetedAcg. You can also find my podcast, Multifaceted ACG Presents, an album a day, by typing Multifaceted ACG into your favorite podcast platforms.
Great. Listeners, let us know what you thought of this discussion. Shoot us a tweet at the Kpopcast or join us in our Slack. A link to our Slack channel will be linked in the episode description. And for the recording, I'm sorry the live stream watchers can't hear this because I'm talking right now. But we had a piece of listener feedback. We had the user at the CJ who tweeted at us saying, "For starters, let black fans talk. The K-pop fandom tries to silence speak over K-pop fans way too often. Let black K-pop fans express themselves and their discomfort. And be understanding. When we are hurt or offended, let us be hurt and offended." So I think we'll end it on that note from our listener community. Again, thank you so much. And I can't wait to follow and hear more. And I think there were a lot of lessons that I personally learned from today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for reaching out, Peter. Appreciate it.
Yeah.